once a week. If it starts to get cloudy, then you want to backwash it, every other day until it clears up. Because whatever is going through that pool is sitting on the top of that filter. Okay, and if you don't flush it out, it's just going to keep going back into the pool.
So do it every Sunday.
So yeah, once a week is fine. Now,
What, buddy?
It's still the same code.
Where's Lindsay?
Whoa. Landon. What? Wait.
It actually might be better just to get into it and help circulate that stuff on the boat.
wait a minute.
I want to get in.
Did you say sure?
What's the stuff on the ground?
That's just dirt from, and we're going to get you to vacuum that up in a second.
Who?
You. Okay.
Oh, be quiet. You don't feel it. It may still be too cold.
Now, your indicator strips. You have your pH level, your chlorine, your alkalinity, and your cyanuric acid or stabilizer.
Shh, I need you guys to be quiet.
Okay? Starting from the top, your pH level, that's your comfort level. A lot of people think that when there's too much chlorine in the pool that your eyes sting. That's not the case. It's that your pH level is off. Okay, when your pH is low, your waters become acidic. That's something that you don't want at all ever, because it will affect your liner, it'll affect your heater, it'll affect the seals in the pump, okay, it'll affect your eyes. The first thing you'll feel is your eyes will start stinging, okay? So you really don't want that to go low. Your chlorine level. So anyway, back to this. Your the pH level you want to keep between 7.2 and 7.8. Human pH is between 7.4 and 7.6. So that's why we want to keep it in that range.
And it tells
Okay,
us
and it'll tell you that on the strips. The other thing about it, starting from the top, it tells you to wait 15 seconds to compare. It'll tell you almost immediately what the level is, because if you let it sit there for 15 seconds, more than likely it's going to get so dark you're going to think that the level is too high. Then you'll start pouring chemicals in it to try and bring it down, and what'll happen is you'll swing it the other way, okay? And then you'll have to put more chemicals in to try and bring it back. And so to wait about 5 seconds, okay? But it will tell you almost immediately what your levels are. Next is your chlorine level. You want to keep it between 1 and 3 parts per million. Having it at 5 is not going to be too bad, but you don't want to keep it that high for a long period of time, because high chlorine will bleach out your liner, it'll bleach out your bathing suits, and it'll actually stretch the liner and cause wrinkles. So you definitely don't want to keep that at a high level. If it's high, leave the cover open, let the sun burn it off, or swim a lot more.
So what color?
Okay.
I can't. I don't have my color. Those two. One
Between 1 and 3 parts per million. Okay. Next is your alkalinity. Your pH is your acid. Your alkalinity is your base. When you have these levels at the correct levels, your water is neutral. That you want to keep it as neutral as possible. So when testing it, you want to test it at least once a week, maybe twice a week, especially if you're having an issue and you're trying to get the chemical levels correct. You might even want to do it every day. All right. But your alkalinity level, you want to keep it between 80 and 120 parts per million. All right. We have chemicals here that if you need to raise it, you can raise it, lower it. You can lower it to get it down to that point. Alkalinity and pH work with each other. So if your alkalinity is high, your pH is going to be high. Okay, because it's a base that's turning that into a base. All right. The same thing, if that's too low, your water is going to become acidic. So whenever you're adjusting this, adjust the base first, or adjust the alkalinity first, because that's really going to affect the pH level. All right, and they're usually high at the same time because the alkalinity affects the pH. The next is your stabilizer. Your stabilizer acts as a sunblock for your chlorine, so it doesn't burn up so easily. Okay, it allows it to stay in the pool and fight off bacteria and stuff that gets into the pool. Anything that's on your body, that's on a person, is getting into the pool. So sweat, suntan oils, makeup, urine.
Back to that. Always comes back around.
That is always going to get into the pool. So you want to make sure that it keeps that chlorine in the pool. To test this, you just give it a quick dip. Don't wash it around or do anything like that. It's just a quick dip in the
Polaroid.
water. And then read it. Everything is in range. Your chlorine is good. This, your stabilizer is low, but your chlorine is good. Now, you don't want to keep adding stabilizer to this, mainly because if it gets too high, then it'll actually block the chlorine from working.
Okay.
All right? You'll have chlorine in the pool, but it won't work, and your pool will get cloudy.
Overstabilized.
Yeah, overstay. And now the only way to get rid of that is that you can't just add a chemical to get rid of it. You actually have to partially drain the pool and refill it. Okay.
So do you have to use stabilizer very often?
No. Okay. The only time you're going to need the conditioner or stabilizer is when you found that you've turned that chlorine generator all the way up, and it just can't keep up with putting chlorine in the pool. Okay, so yeah, so only if you find that you've been struggling with keeping chlorine in the pool, that you add some stabilizer to it. You only add a little at a time because you don't want to throw it out of whack.
Okay.
Okay, and whenever you add stuff to the pool, it's okay to swim in the pool. Just think about it, that anything that you're adding to the pool is making the pool water better.
That was different in the old days. I always said
Yeah.
don't swim in it after you put stuff in it.
You can,
Gotta shock it.
well, even if you shock it, it's okay
good.
because you're getting, it's making the water better.
Okay.
Okay, it's sanitizing the water when you shock it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, and same thing with any of the chemicals, the pH plus, pH minus, they dissolve very quickly to begin with. Okay, so it's like I said.
And you just kind of walk around and
and you
sprinkle it
just
in, or just
throw it
in
in.
the
You
middle?
can just
Okay.
throw it in the middle.
don't- okay.
And
Take the
it's-
cycle before you should retest.
You should retest at least one day later. Okay, because you want it to pass through
The filter and
the
everything.
filter at least once before you retest it. Okay, and that'll give it a chance to mix into the entire volume of water.
Okay.
Okay, now remember, it's very important that that filter is 70% of your water clarity. Okay, so it's important to keep that backwashed and clean, because when that gets dirty, that gets dirty. Okay, and water chemistry, like I said, it really affects everything else. Your liner, your seals, your bathing suits, your everything. Okay, is any questions?
Nope.
Or
I think so.
got it?
Got it.
Pretty simple.
Okay.
Go out in the grass.